Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. November 21st, 2022. November 21, 2022. Salon people, of course, with me again today. Now, we get the pleasure for get with brother African Express, Shenoba, for local can discuss critical issues. Them, communicator is with me. Hopefully, Cash Fox could join me later in People's Power. Salon people, at this particular point in time. Now revision we do. We just go over these points and bringing up new ones them. But everything they want to say, everything they advocate for, everything they call people attention, where they call members of parliament, where they call stakeholders them, where they call the people of Sierra Leone attention. So a lot of things now they say and all they come to pass. We talk about the NIN number. Say, hey, then guy, they want pass on a parliament. When I go watch them, when I call Abbasmun, when I call the members of parliament them. We then did a parliament over 1 month. And then come back, they say, well, no, we'll not pass the law there. Where to find out where registration reach. They make them a mandatory requirement for now people to register in that country. We people they run up and down like a craze. Without they go to birth certificate office, without they go to all over the country, so they torment people as them, especially in the northwest and western area of that country. The north and the western area torment we young voters them. They name for vote, they name for register. A lot of them. Because they either they tell and say, oh, you want birth certificates, but you need the NIN number. And for they get the NIN number, you can forget birth certificates. A lot of brother and sister, they don't get birth certificate there. We see all this coming and put with people and through. Thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people we're supposed for register. When they reach the age for register, they don't for register. It is a violation of the constitutional right. We see Amnek Duam. Members of parliament, we see Cherry Coco, the leader of the opposition, they go dance with the SLPP at a time when they go declare registration only two weeks for the very first time in the history of our country. Cherry Coco of the APC, they come out, they go dance with SLPP. For the first time, we even see that they go dance because they show the registration center them. For the first time, they go dance because of registration they open. Then they go dance. It shows you the level of unseriousness of these people. Whether they want for a peace, we don't know. Now the next commissioner, we see the non-pool numbers. The number they will not sabi how they come out, how they put them together. Because go for break the numbers they are by ward level. Now they go delete over 250,000 names what we can't talk about today. But some people these are the things they tell us here. When I get to the people stakeholders them, we're responsible for protecting this democracy here. They're not protecting the democracy for people. When they come, when they talk now, these are the things where they bother with, they pain with. Because for that democracy get for advance. Now the people that were in opposition, we're supposed to do the checks and balances, for look over what the government of the day they do and say it's wrong and wrong. When they see people they can't pass all over the place, they do this and do that, they talk about positions and this and that. Now the APC they so they never forget the flag bearer. All of this, you look within the parliament, what did they happen there? No structure. How do they go stand up against the tyranny of this government? How do they go stand up against BO with everything that they're doing? These guys are trying to rig the election. They're trying for rig the election not reach yet. And they come and communicate talk not so election, not so who get for vote. Now they want to count them a lot of times. And we allow them people there for continue for go after we citizens them in that country today, for take away them rights to vote. We see what's happening. How this everything in the country is just wrong. They still don't allow this government to do whatever they want to do. NIN number, NACRA business kind side. All kind of things in the country. Corruption at the highest level. We see what's in the goal of the country. These members of parliament, the leaders of the opposition, can the Yumkela yesterday who say they match pass Pankoba? At a time like this, where it's silent for tweets, if that man not get my tweet, let alone talk about what in next commissioner don't do so. For delete 250,000 names. Can the Yumkela see they watch? And they go dance Koba. You know what you do? Because these guys don't value the people. They don't get respect for the citizens. No partner in the world, not they. Inside this America where they live, London, France, any side, where politicians, when serious matter they at hand, then they go to there, they go match pass. They don't can talk about that serious issue. No partner in the world where they go allow them to get away with them. Now, Salonomo, and one of the people self when I get a responsibility. Because they're going to say they match pass in a society where the people are informed. Now, then they alapaya. They go alapagadi. What you do now? They don't go delete 250,000 names. You can't match pass now. What you can do now? any civilized country to God in this day. They cannot value with people, they don't respect the citizens, they don't care. These are the things we can talk about today, about these 250,000 names that were deleted. Come on, go ahead and come on in and you go bring in Brother Chenoba of the African Express.
Thank you, Ibrahim. You know, as they say, people in a salon, let's take the responsibility for look now, don't know when they talk to, and don't know when they talk through. You don't talk and time and again salon until they critically understand whether they're sincere, whether they pretend. Salon will not say with the state they made at the same point or go be a mother how would they so. You see, for most start this year, this crusade with brother Channel of African Express. So begin to talk first about the opposition is opposition. We can identify the neck. We say we talk about the problem we neck one for the election. We can identify the bill they want pass. We get for damage salon. We talk about the NI number. We say they want use that for election. They can send all kind talk against we. They say in a lie the next expunge them. We talk about the NCRA. They say the next expunge them. We talk about the PR system. What they intend for use for election. Everything we point. The people then they deny deliberately. And one of the worst is say Ibrahim. Like you can answer for me if that are the best excuse. If they go then cop meeting, they go meet David Senga for them discuss. But for that talk about the election, for me election, let me tell you something, Ibrahim. Joseph Stalin say, those who vote decide nothing, those who count decide everything. And rigging na a continuous process. And then they begin rig during polling day, they start for rig far before polling day because it's a continuous process. We don't identify them here. We say this na rigging pattern, na the biggest form of rigging in the Pandusula Salon. We've said this thing time and again. Ibrahim, people are sincere. Jerry could go then. The one ITGC, the say fish are no thanks for ITGC, no thanks for individual people. So they're not talking. Jerry could leader of the opposition. It's said no for letter because in what we contend in anybody academic, we all don't see we can avoid them. Never be no I say whole Lord. And when you say whole Lord, they not talking again nothing. So I'm very much sure in prefer the SLPP than even for like EPSCA, in as much as we get all the chance for win election, every chance to get them. We don't say them they continuously for whole Shalom people in life to ransom Ibrahim because the family they and the family members they're safe. They're secret down in the wrong kind of Ghana or England or India or Senegal. But people nothing. You know, for they say non-delete or numbers them. It's terrible. Chenoba, you don't get it back today. Welcome to this platform. What do you think about this particular see what they say neck don't delete start the numbers then people have to go verify the numbers there. They equally tell people say anybody will go verify let me close them because who said the collector are you in there. What do you think about this in general?
Yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate the fact they wanna always they use this platform for educate people and provide them with real information about what's going to happen. I think say we already help for show the people them exactly since before even the beginning of this registration what are the intention of the government. We talk say the only way Madabi will get a second term na through will get through a free and fair election, and they not really want a free and fair election. And we point out say that the first time in the history of the country this since the introduction of multi-party politics when we register for vote in 1996, where we get this kind of difficult way for prevent people government they make constant effort, government, electoral commission, the politicians and now we try for help the incumbent regime, incumbent party and the president waiting a power for still remain a power, and the only way they try for do and for prevent people and not for able for register, able participate. We point out two basic ways. We say voter suppression. Now one way the government get for try and voter suppression for make sure say people that we them believe say now areas the way they think say not get for vote for them try to prevent them to participate or make it difficult for them to make them go for register and participate in the election. Basically for suppress potential opposition supporters from being able to register and participate in the elections. We call that the voter suppression. We talk about this way before registration start because we will not see the law with Parliament we want for smuggle through Parliament, and we point out the law, call everybody for pay attention like how Ibrahim and we all don't say we even invite people to make phone calls. We all send phone call, text message to Abbas Bundu and members of Parliament and advise them and call on them, say they're not for pass the public elections law. Even with that struggle they will we go through, they still make then come on and lie, say they no they don't remove the NIN and all these other dangerous provisions in the law. But then pass, and later on, we find out say that not true. So actually, the undertake registration with the sole purpose and intention for suppress people then from participating in the elections. The second thing what we point out to say that candidate exclusion. The government they try for use the court, use all institutions for also prevent candidates that we think say go likely beat them in the election, not for you participate in the election. That they want to choose members of the opposition for contest against them when they believe say that a candidate will allow them for rig. And we say for make all these two methods happen, the state institutions, from parliament to the court to the anti-corruption commission and the other institutions are then supposed for then go use for prevent people from vote and prevent candidates from participating in the election. So some of the things that I will talk about, we just refresh people in mind. But we don't begin to talk about this way back May, June, take in July, before even the August 10. And we highlight them here for make people and see and understand how the democracy that the country is, the politicians that are power, the party that are the parliament, they undermine. Whenever democracy will function properly, now because opposition parties allow that to happen. And in this case, the opposition in parliament has really collaborated with the government throughout these 4 to 5 years now for do all these dangerous things that will not happen in the country, from the passing of laws, the approval of parliament, budgets in parliament, even though there are no transparency system. We talked about this last time, a couple of days ago. So I don't want to repeat all of that now. We just say this for reminder, but key thing we want to highlight now, it don't be almost 4 days now. 4 days, more than 72 hours since the Electoral Commission, ECSL, announced they don't produce what we call a provisional voters register. But before even this provisional voters register then produce out, I don't know, say, from the beginning of the registration, ECSL, they produce the number, probably we don't name. So ECSL just announced more say the first 2 days they don't register over 1 million people, over 500,000 people, all of these numbers when they announce, they don't ever give you breakdown. How many people register in a social constituency, how many people register in a social ward. That is how biometric system of registration with electoral system require. It will be transparent. So the transparency, apart from the deliberate effort of electoral staff and the government to prevent people from register, election matter. Every step of the election, key ingredient, key requirement are transparency. Transparent election, transparency in election, then they guarantee free and fair election. Everybody, where a citizen, a politician or political party, for able scrutinize and ask questions about the election, the electoral process, they're supposed to provide again answer to that question. So this don't be largely absent. We see how ECSL been announced the results. Drip, like how small water they drop. Come on. Right. Then with electoral officers then talk, they identify, accept say the electoral registration not happen the way it's supposed to happen, smooth way. We also point out the corruption we prevent ECSL to buy the required machine when over $10 million. Now we can to the Howard Day. Now we began to force even the members of parliament to make statement. Jerry Kukure statement 1 week later, 10 days later. So all of the issues where we raise, where we announce and point out as part of the problems of registration, were never addressed. So we don't country point now, Musai, they don't announce 3,525,843 voters. They say that they registered and they capture inside the system. But according to them now, the people that we actually qualify now about 3.3 million, 3,368,855 voters. So they don't even identify double registration according to them. They say people in the way register duplicated registration today. We register 2 times or more than 1 time. And apart from that, they point out 256,988 voters underage, which means they're already minors. That they don't exclude them. So, in essence, 256,988 voters the way the ECS and the Electoral Commission, Corner and young people and still say they were registered upon underage. Not to people that will be supposed for register and then they say they don't find their name inside the register. So the question we pose first, we not even want to talk about first whether the number the way they announce over 3 million people are the exact number. Remember, even this 3 million, when the election been done, political parties they talk about them. I mean, even the attempt been there for even report less than 2 billion. We get them the rumored report then they even statements by political parties. The extent that ECS have been announced only 80%, they've been keeping the 20%. We don't want for the report. We just want to take a question from the announcement with the ECS make. Now, 256,988 names of voters we are found in the register where ECSL talks them people they're not supposed to register. They say now underage and that people are not reach 18 years, or they're not going to even be 18 by next year when the election they come. So then they don't remove the names them from the register. Now then the column will have to go and say we have to go begin for identify and exhibit the register. People will go look for the name and check, can go and sleep and check for the name if the name day properly. But already before they do that, they don't already announce 256,988 names. Don't go for day. That the register they've been removed because ECSL believes the people are then like I say underage. Now underage people. So the question would they say, how ECSL identify the people there as underage? That's one. Number two, then we tell we say the biometric system will prevent two things. Where the biometric system any side, if Congress been talking at press conference there, he said make nobody not go for go register 2 times more, because if you mistake for go register 2 times, where you go, they will catch you. So they catch you that problem. Now in the admit say they already get duplicates within the system. He said they get 257,123 total number of duplicated data. He said over 257,000 people and they went a duplicate on a double registration, or maybe they register more than one time. How is that possible? That raises a major question. The first question is how a biometric system will register somebody 2 times, because when you go and don't scan your finger and don't check the looking number, you know they're able to register 2 times. You know they're able for biometric mean for so that clearly they tell you say the biometric system first now for question.
Yes,
what kind of biometric system that will allow people to register?
Right, Cheno, I just want to let people understand quick what's in a biometric system. Let them understand the meaning of that. It means say that you fingerprint. Now you want then get your fingerprints where you put them by any machine. Nobody never for come without your fingerprints. Say everybody in this dunya we God make. You fingerprints now you one gets and nobody no gets 2. I like you a twin. When they born triplets, quadruplets, I like that una 10 una mama born the same day. Una all fingerprints different. In a biometric, yeah. Go ahead, Cheno.
Yeah, so they don't already tell me say people and so the essentially in the talk now I say the duplicated registration and go for cut them out. And when I remember even the politician and say that the opposition, and we don't begin talk first. Now they first begin talk that the audio there and press release there, they highlight the fact say people are registered 2 times. How is that possible? How? So since the release of the provisional voters register, up to now, we not get one word, one statement from the political parties. APC, for example, they've been talk say, then get party agenda all over the country. Will be no say, not true. Now they've been a claim back say, they've been collect data. They've been collect data of every registration. Then go to the point on and they will not begin to announce first the total number of people who register, excluding 20%. Now, ECSL don't announce So we the politicians, we are the politicians. Which is the view. We want to make a statement about the numbers, but we don't. The first question is the politicians, the political parties, from Femi Claudius Golden now waiting a COP, to Dennis Bright there, Kande Yumkela there, to Jerry Koko there, to every politician in the opposition, members of parliament, they have to tell us what is their position regarding the provisional voters register. Do they agree that more than 207,103 people were found in the record of the register will constitute double registration, duplicated data? Do they agree that the total data excluded underage people that 3,268,855 voters, that for that they accept, say, the total number of people that were supposed to participate in the election with a credible registration at 3.2 million? What is their view on the omission of over 250,000, more than a quarter of a million voters? Election, one vote in election will you nullify, one voter will you exclude now in an election. Now something will affect the result, because possibly win a result, an election by one vote
Yep.
only can make a candidate beat the other person. So when the Electoral Commission deliberately try to exclude people from the participation without just the synonymous, people that were, no, if the Electoral Commission identify people who have registered improperly registered, the laws then the first question first will for ask now how the people and they manage for register. Number one, who that register them? Number two, who side the register? Number three, who that are the people that will register? Number four. Then four questions will lead we into a number of things. One, whose kind of machine they want to use will allow people for bypass the registration and enter themselves inside the register more than once. Number one. Number two, which kind of system will allow underage people to register when we first-time voters and we be say some of them not able to register because I talk say when I program the machine in a way that they reject people that will not get 18 years. Anybody will show up, wait for be even 18 years by next June, when at 17 years plus, or 17 years and a half, when I say the machine they reject them for register. So then how did underage people became registered? Who registered those underage people? What are the opinions of the politicians? Now the APC will make them give excuse for allow this thing for pass. They say Fisher don't pass judgment on the head. They say the judgment where Fisher don't pass, they don't give an injunction. They don't talk say the two factions then that the ITGC will be not talk say they all not get the party interest to. Abdul Kago in group where represent Cherry Coco and Alpha Peter Conte and whosoever represent a young group, they're not to better people and for the opposition that do not be not nullified there a long time. Now then talk say Fisher don't tell them say nobody in the party not for talk. Now lie. There is no court in the world where they deny citizens the right for talk. Now even if they know they talk as APC, they have a right. They have a right, constitutional right and responsibility for provide an opinion on the voters register. This is what is done everywhere, because if they really want to win an election, they care about free and fair election, they care about transparent election, they invested in the protection of the rights and the right to vote for every citizen. They cannot remain silent. From where they announce it, they're not lost like how they lost soup water. When they look for them, they don't hide. They say Fisher don't tell us enough for talk. In fact, by now, even Parliament get the right and responsibility for someone Fisher for go to Parliament and put question there to that. They get the right for someone the Chief Justice and ask a question about the rule of law, about the implementation of the constitutional requirement for dispense justice. They get that right there. And when Fisher passed judgment against the party, he talks say the members of the party and then get the party, and he believes say members of parliament and they represent the party people there. So he transferred the responsibility, the greater responsibility, to members of parliament. He appoints Jerry Koko directly. He said make Jerry Koko appoint the largest number of people in at the APC. We will form the interim committee, where is Chairman Abada Majuba since this. So now they all disabled the party for me the party not able to function. They disabled opposition, the other opposition leaders where get political parties from NGC to C4C to all the smaller party there. Now they all be sitting back say all the small party they don't form what they call COP because they believe say APA when are the all political parties association not better. So they don't go from coalition of progressive parties. Now coalition of progressive party now a name umbrella name of convenience, but they have people there with political parties. We know the claim say that they're under injunction. Where is their statement? That the very people that may go sit down at that small hall, say they don't make a press conference, then parade people away and say young people and where they say first-time voters will testify and provide evidence and able for register because some of them are 17 year and a half. So then they go birth certificate and they reject them. So then they go chief and the chief and reject them. Now here we are. The ECSL is telling us people over 250,000 people entered their names into the record twice or more than once, or they entered the record, they registered even though they were underage. The question is, who are these underage people that were registered? Who registered these underage people? Where did they register? Which center? Which ward? Which machine? Who are the registration officers? Why the registration officers register somebody where they no say no able for register? People that will be go and birth certificate and they reject them. How did underage people got their way and register? How did their names enter into the register? Who are they? Where? When I show you the numbers, disaggregate the numbers of unqualified registrants, so when I don't find duplicated registrants, so when I don't find inside the register. Now that's what I don't do force. That is what the Electoral Commission for don't do together with political parties, identify and publish them before ever we agree on that, before ever I move for public exhibition of the register. But now, if you remove that, or you plan for remove that before registration, what do you try for? That confusion you create. Suppose that people that come with and sleep there now, for can't say they identify the name there. The name they know that the exhibited list for verification. What do you expect? Not to fetch and chaos, you don't go put back at the centers there. And now you get politicians and political parties where they talk, say they cannot make a view, they cannot express an opinion around these crooked statistics. The one announced by ECSL, there is a different discussion for us whether these numbers are the correct numbers, and then we go for count to that. We want first made to answer this question. Then we go to for discuss the entire register, the entire distribution by district, whose district reduced, and whether we don't see the progression what we don't observe in the electoral registration since 1996. Whether these numbers represent the demographic arrangement of the country, and they are truly a reflection of the actual register itself. That's a different question. We don't want for that because when we begin to talk about that, the politician then go see the crooked and make them come back and begin hide. Like the thing that one day. But we just want to point things up front.
Absolutely.
The responsibility of an electoral commission is to register every qualified voter. The technology and the money, since to me to talk about this thing is paining me in the sense that one of the key people that we struggle for campaign for make we get a biometric register. In 2012, this was 10 years ago, as a participant in the process. Now we struggle with Christiana Top them, we make argument on radio, on television, meetings with PPLC meetings, right up to the point that we went to as far as Belgium when the UNDP identified a Belgian company called Zetis. Me and I be part of the delegation we go Belgium for verified register before they can exhibit her. We go there, we look at all of the registration, we look at all of the data. We've been so satisfied. We say, no, we don't even agree for sign. I accept. The team we register, we do the registration, the companies send the young people again and come to Freetown. We go to Wellington at the Electoral Commission that them center na Wellington. Them do training and exhibition. Everybody see and satisfy again before we say yes. We don't agree with the 2012 electoral register. No matter how you complain about the 2012 election, there was one thing we all agreed on, that the electoral register was properly scrutinized. We debated it. We called for it. We scrutinized the thing. Up to now, when you look at the ID card, like I have mine here. Up to now, you see the strength of that ID card. You see the quality of them.
Absolutely.
It reflects the quality of the data. Now, how we disintegrate, how we go back. By this time, the Saloon and so for worry about registration. People for register and Saloon for vote without any difficulty. Not even know about registration.
Mm.
But these are the first time we get an electoral commission. They not only create they spent over $10 million. They say they buy computers. They will not see no evidence of the procurement. Parliament has never taken up that issue. Not only that, we see the members of Parliament, the NGC and the APC, then they say they're against the electoral system. They not invite ECSL to Parliament. Up to now, they never raised the question of the corruption. If ECSL cannot account for procurement funds, how are we sure that they will guarantee the protection of our votes? Now, we don't even start, we don't begin voting. So I do the registration number, we don't get this kind of problem, this kind of questionable data. So these are the questions we're raising. And we raise them question there because, one, we want transparent elections. If Madabio believes, say, he's a good president, he don't work, he don't provide bonus, that bonus they give people there. Enough afraid in the election. If we're able to organize the election in a free and fair way, if we're able to allow each and every Sierra Leonean to participate in the election, each and every Sierra Leonean that's qualified to participate should be able to participate either as a voter or as a candidate to the election. The courts, the judiciary, the Anti-Corruption Commission, ECSL, Parliament, the police, PPRC, their role not for be a role where they prevent people that we might be not like. We believe, say, if they participate in the election, they go vote against her, not for people to participate in the election. That is not democracy. That is how you defrustrate democracy in our country. And we've been pointing these things out. We tell you now, not to say, if Madabi want to get second term, make it get second term in a proper election. If people want to vote, make them vote, and that's all we want. But if people want to vote out a government, they should not be prevented from participating in the election because the president and the other politicians with the supporter think say if they allow them people to have a vote, no problem for we. Now, first-time voters, many of them were unable to register because when I talk say some of them will get 18 years, the machine will automatically reject them. How did underage voters enter the register? How they're able to register 2 times? When the biometric system is supposed to kick that out. Now I've been talking, say, make people not mistake for come for register to them because I go hold and I crime. Now the law prevent an electoral officer for register somebody, for force the machine for register somebody 2 times. So if there's any crime there, we for know would and which of the electoral staff then do this, who side and do it. And then we're going to know which kind of action to take against those people who have already committed electoral problems, electoral fraud. So that these are the question. But all of this is the responsibility of opposition parties for verify. When I was participating in an election, as a stakeholder in that election, I demanded, and until we demand then do will not be settlement. And the Electoral Commission not be get any choice at the time and do exactly within the political parties, civil society, and media people were interested in the transparent organization of election demand. And all of these politicians I know from Cherikuko, and they were in power at the time. When we go Belgium, the person who represent, part of that delegation who represent SLPP, Pandanoa, is currently the Internal Affairs Minister. At the time, the APC was represented by one of the members of Parliament, Claude Commander. So this at the point out there where I've make them know that we went to Belgium, spent almost a week. Now, UNDP says because they fund the election and help for select the biometric company. We're a very standard company that they print passports and ID card and visas for many of the EU countries, even electoral materials for many countries in the world, including Congo and Ivory Coast. Now the very company they print the passports for right now for Gambia, the biometric passport. Now how you leave a standard company, we don't introduce or begin build the biometric infrastructure in the country. You identify Kalu company in Africa, we not sabi for, we not sabi even have a manage one small computer so that they supply computers. Now here we are, you're talking about duplicated registrants in the hundreds of thousands, not even 10, hundreds of thousands that they talk about. Near over 250,000 voters. And now you're trying to remove them from the register simply because in your own thinking you believe they are either not of age or secondly, they register twice. Is that the problem of the people or your system? So let us clear these issues first before we talk about now assessing the data itself. For begin look district by district, who say we add voters and we not add voters. So the debate should not be about whether the statistics Sierra Leone, the numbers and whether they been produced by that midterm census, the electoral register, we not be even need ECSL for confirm to we say Malam O and statistics are fake business. We not be need that and therefore no say the midterm census have been fake. Because as far as we know, even the political parties been talking, they know they participate in census. So there should be no basis for a debate of a census number. What we should be talking about is the merit of the current electoral register. If we get anything for compare the electoral register with midterm census, no. Now the statistics of the 2018 elections, the statistics of the 2012 elections, the statistics of the 2002 elections, the statistics of the 1996 elections. Now that they for compare with. Not to Malam or midterm census. We are not here to justify whether statistics Sierra Leone been do good job, then they reduce number. Then no, if you want to do that, they take Schengen your number of students that where they sit for Beke, where they sit for WAS, where they start Freetown. That they for compare with. Make you see the foolishness of statistics Sierra Leone, the crooked nature of how the politicians have been trying to use all things for destroy the electoral process. That's what for look for. But as far as election is concerned, we compare election data with election data. If we want to know the progressive development of statistics when it comes to election, we begin from 1996. How many people been registered in 1996? How many people registered in 1996 na the East? How many people registered in 1996 na the North? How many people registered in 1996 na the South? How many people registered in 1996 na the Western area? When we come out there, we see what are the total number of people who will be registered in 1996. How many women have been registered in 1996? How many men have been registered in 1996? What is the age of the people who will be registered? How much have been the overwhelming number? Because, for example, we understand say by 2012, 87% of the people who will be registered in 2012 for vote, they were between the ages of 18 to 37 years. So we check the number. That is how you assess. So when we come out in 1996, we take back 2002. How many people have been registered for vote in the entire country 2002? How many people have been registered in the North 2002? How many people be registered? So that they don't they consider number. Una the opposition party that have been talk say Malam O in not participate. So as far as I'm concerned, you should not be talking about census because there was no census. Politicians in the opposition called out and say they know they participate. Femi Claudius Cole, a famous slogan, continue and not continue, not to case, not to police case. So what do I want me to compare with now? That number, then when I go take the statistics Sierra Leone and go turn it upside down, when I snap when I send when I begin to use them, because I want to distract people, they will point there for talk about Madam O and statistics instead of talk about the real election data. The real election data. When I stop for the full people them, we don't tire with this one. Idle politics. This kind of politics is not politics. We are not ever show we turnover signboard. If statistics Sierra Leone signboard they upside down, now America. Because I want people to talk about statistics Sierra Leone instead of talk about ECSL. When I want them talk about midterm census instead of them talk about the real election data. They compare election data with midterm census. In order to the thing, what we talk about when it comes to election, like election data versus election data, what do we mean? How many people registered in 2018? How many people registered in 2022? What is the percentage increase of registered voters? People that increase for register? Yes or no? How many people increase? Does the percentage increase in the number of registered voters in the new registration reflect the trend of progress in progressive statistics we don't experience. That is what we start. That is how we do the calculation. This una know since that day. Una left this una crooked politics. Now una know which kind of baggy with mother bill, and we don't care whether una take the whole statistics office and turn the building upside down a snapper. That is none of our business. Our business here is the number announced by ECSL. Number one, why would have been decided for pass law way for exclude people them from voting? That public election law. Why would I try for give electoral commission the right and the responsibility for organized election according to how they want in their own head? Why would I decide for limit people them, force people them, especially in Freetown, na Makeni, na Putloko, na Mashimbi, Makali, Matutuka, Kabbalah, all them side and they will make them so difficult people for register. Then now when they come back, when I say people they register 2 times, when I say people way young citizens enter the name at the register when are underage, and we are talking about over 250,000 voters. What are you talking? When I show you it should not be difficult. Exhibit the thing. We are in a digital world. You get a digitized system. Supposedly that's what you use. You talk in as advanced system. That's called when I talk say when I do standard procurement. Why would I not able to prevent all of these supposed duplicated registration and underage registration? Which kind of lie it is? So we know they talk about first whether the result really the number we announced. In fact, when our agent there first we don't begin to talk about 1.something million at the register, 2 million, less than 2 million at the register, 80% and all of that. Now when I come off, because we don't remind you say the basis of any total was therefore take from the last election. You don't go register more last time, you can should be less number. Now when I don't see more than about 6 weeks from when I done registration to now, or over 6 weeks, when I come back, look at what them can produce. And the politicians, before they debate the merit of the statistics, now for go begins take statistics and board, and net turn her over, when I take picture when I send her. Because I want people to look idleness and left for talk about the real thing. So these are anyway. I hope I don't summarize some of the key points. The question remains: what is the opinion of the opposition parties? Opposition parties, largely speaking, what is the statement of COP on the provisional voters register? Where is the statement of the APC parliamentary leadership? Where is the statement of the APC's parliamentary leader on these questions? Where is the statement of Kande Yubkela and the NGC? Where is the statement of C4C? Even the SLPP is supposed to get a statement on this, because they are all stakeholders in the elections. Are they satisfied with the electoral register? We need to know which political party and which politician thinks this way for conduct election a correct way, then satisfied with the provisional voters register. We not tell we, then we not tell we now, we know enough before we tell you now what we think are the issues. Beyond what these things will point out first, now the announcement, I just want to say, we are basically responding to the announcement. We have not even challenged the basis of the merit of the numbers in the first place. So I know the difference. So
absolutely.
And we now we listen as politicians, we know what they talk about.
Right.
So when I forget about that on a picture, when I go take statistics Sierra Leone, they turn upside down. So now when I take Malabo, when I taking head, when I put on a ground, when I taking food and I put on up, and I say that's really work now. Now when I head the work out, not putting food. Now when I own business and we own concern here and the numbers.
Absolutely.
ECSL. Now that.
Right. So basically, if I'm waiting, nobody saying it's very critical to understand this. It's very important for understand this. We don't even talk about the amount of people who claim say they register yet, the 3 million something. We don't even talk about that yet. What we focus on is the fact that let the leaders of the opposition. So una the people now, una with the task, una the responsibility. Una the people get a responsibility now, the citizens of Sierra Leone, for asking our opposition political party leaders them. NGC, APC, C4C, all of these parties, COP, all of them were, then they can talk about the 256,000 plus voters then when they say they register twice in a row for pool and they register. When they say they get a biometric system. And the biometric system in the first place that for prevent double register. So we not say not to the western area, or we not say not to the north, because they restrict and they stop with picking it up where they register. The one that 17 plus. So outside is happening, we believe say predominantly now the south and the southeast. But let we get the details.
Ibrahim.
Let we get the data. People saw. Come on in, my brother.
Ibrahim. Yeah. Even the one day we didn't see the register underage. 74% of the one day we didn't see the register underage. Now the north and the western area, 74% of them. You know, because just the creating check no they talk now. So if you actually get for tell people how they register twice, and let me tell you, now this neck they tell ECSL, now this ECSL they tell the political parties them. The one the way they represent the political party them. Now the Tale Center now Wellington, then tell them say then go ensure say then show them all evidence of the one that we vote to them, we register to them. Then go show them evidence. But they don't ever show them evidence. We then can't figures they no more now, they just can't show they see now the amount of people in this we register to them. Now the amount of people in this how you go exclude over 256,000 people, over 256,000 people. Ibrahim, you go imagine that.
People's power, my brother.
Kind people again. Now the voters registration, but one thing we are want for 10 salon people in, you will not say you be registered. Now for go for do you verification. Now for go for make you ensure say the list where they get for anger, let you name in that list. Now that receipt where they be give you, that receipt they now they qualify, now they should say you register. That receipt they anybody where they give that receipt they should say you register. If you register to them, they ever give receipt. When see they give that receipt, they will say now 110 you register. So everybody for keep that receipt day. When the time there for country stop for do that verification, now that receipt they will give now here for care. So let the SL no can tell we say then don't pull people and we register over and 256,000 people. Ibrahim come request a card box check no self deny you. Anybody we register to tell, in fact now a crime you don't commit. You the officer we register that person need to tell you self them commit crime. So how you go pull people away don't commit this kind of crime, electoral offense? And there is a law where they should say anybody who commits electoral offense, where do bad things them, you keep things them, but elections business.
You know, 250,000 people. I want to understand how important and I like when China about put it that way. 250,000.
You know, again for the person get for face the law, Ibrahim.
Absolutely, people's power. 250,000 people, Kashi. Now in they say they want to pull the name, so they say they register twice. 250,000. Where the essence of a biometric system, first of all, when you don't register one, you go for go register two them. The system automatically they pick up on the fact that you already registered. So it's not even possible for register to them. If the ECSL, and this goes back to the point where the African Express we make $10 million. How we reached to this point where 2012, brother China back on Belgium, where President Koroma in government, and it's by Koroma in government through UNDP, then pay for people and for gold. China was part of them. Panda Noah, where the current Minister of Internal Affairs under SLPP, was part of the delegation. Claude Kamanda, when I be APC member of parliament, now be part of the delegation. Now they all gonna Belgium for go and get a biometric system, a standard ID card. Why we left that standard there? When we say democracy, we say in the 60 years, this will not go no science. Why we reached that point in 2012? They don't take me back, go to 1967. Where about Magabi will not be one people for vote. How we reach that point, say cash box, my brother? Come on in. Kashi.
Morning, guys. You know, Ibrahim, when you asked the question how we reached that point there, you know, I can tell you the simple answer to that is selfishness. People are greedy. You know, people do not, they're with politicians, they come for make the people and see what they don't do, and people and kind of like choose them as a result of what they don't do. They feel say that how did they bulldoze parliament, that's so they for bulldoze even the people they thought. They don't believe say some people they for think before they vote. They just feel say even how you they think they have to bulldoze it. You know, because you see, politicians do not believe in their successes and their records. They believe in their, you know, criminal ideas that for force the people and foresee. You know, Ibrahim, seriously, sometimes I think, you know, that guy they are, what did they do to the picking them? Now they want to do to baby grandpa the way born picking, where they able born them. They allow the picking them for think freely, but when it comes to with the people in the country, what's not the big deal? You know, come with people's power. What's not the big deal for do good? When you picking, don't say you do, you look after them. It care about you. It let you business. Picking, it know who that care about them. If you see picking a link to you too much, don't say you really the better and you care about them. If you see they run away from you, don't say you they provoke and too much, you like it cannot stand you. So you know, that guy they just 60 years, they say 60 years down the line, Ibrahim. You know, it goes back to the old point. Why you need for kind of like try for rigged elections? Why you need for kind of like, you know, change registration and all that thing that they thinking that you know politics. You feel say that when you play this kind of games, that you go able to get your power. Comrade Ibrahim, people's power and China. With politicians, and they clearly tell we say they do not care about the people their well-being. It's all about themselves. We genuinely politicians who are work for in people and they care about like how make it do see the many people like them genuinely. They just need to do good.
Absolutely.
Some people when you give me small thing, Ibrahim, we they hail you. Simple thing. Just do good for the people that you don't even need for rig the election. You don't need for play games with the election. You don't need for go get an advocate for kind of you side where you don't say these are the very advocate where you don't talk say they thief money. It is clear, salon people have that when these guys are playing these games, they just don't care about UNA because they care about how they forget results, getting advocate, getting Victor Fodem. Is it like how they call him the crime where the something gate, you know, like when this man we don't commit long years ago.
Agate.
But as far as this politician said, sorry.
Agate.
Vouchergate.
Vouchergate.
Exactly.
Vouchergate. The first one. We don't commit.
You know,
you go all the criminal the merger then
exactly. You don't need to get a criminal them. If you genuinely care about you people them, you don't have to. You can kind of like go get like fresh minds them. The Singapore go take all politicians them just for making the can get. No, they transform the country. People they love them.
17 men, 17 able spend at the change Singapore. 17. Not 200 or not to 20, 17. 17 like nice people.
All politicians, they can put them, they can sabi talk people, they can make sweet talk for them. Say, oh, the Alpha Can I get put loco, they can go talk to people. You don't have to do that. Just provide job for the Putloko people. They don't care about Alpha Can. They don't care about Victor Fall. Bojo Kai Kai. Provide job for them. Create the atmosphere. These people do not need people already sabi talk. Now you don't go get an Alpha Can way big. Oh, imagine. Victor Fode talk say Alpha Can elected country. Alpha Can way also a big pass the national hospital that we country. Imagine that you tell me these guys they make always in the debate on now rig the election. Go to ECSL. You see, Ibrahim, when you look at we country, now because people like they talk about parliamentarian, they really they ruin that country they so badly. When is this ever going to stop? For make that with the they tell we say this government that waiting they feel for do. We get a government way that waiting they feel for do. When is this going to stop? How long we go sit to and say them guy there that waiting they feel for do that they do. The Ewood Mohammed Kadari called Ibrahim. The appointment first was illegal.
Of course.
But we see go back, we keep our day. You know, like
who not keep and do Casbox? Who not keep and do? Who the appointment will continue? Okay, I will talk about until we see the man the appointment illegal. We'll talk about the man for his previous attitude towards Salon. Before even they can we see the man who tell us if this man can cover up the with then chief minister a $2 million chief. What is this man go do? Talk about the previous activities and during the past election of 2007. We highlight all that here. That's box this thing will change because the parliament if they cannot talk about any corruption, when the accuse SLP bad. They don't talk about the forgery of the president. They don't talk about the latest one, the ECSL $10 million. They don't call them for the car account of them. They don't talk about anything. Now what if they never talk about? Hey, who they talk with you? We tell people say the need for act. The MPs they not feel we hopefully. Especially we hope at why belong to when the main opposition party, the leader of the opposition. Cashbox, why they all started. We talk about this different. All this man for so that $10 million thief because that thief. You see, not a corruption anymore. That thief in the thief now. Broad daylight looting. That they do that alone. If them have been MP, them been call this man for say, well, you can't explain this there. Justify him. You know for all this show. Talk about this NI number. Talk about the PR system. Talk about the NCRA number. Nothing. Registration come. Who said it not ever happen for letting them do 2 weeks. 2 weeks and just get 80%. The talk about nothing. So whatever they do now, they don't say the members of parliament. They agree with them. They want follow the plan. They're not going to hide the place. We need to continue to expose the cash box.
Absolutely. Come in. You see, this is not a problem where I get with Salon. Salon in failed states where it is not to just matter be you causable. The reason why it is failed, it is because parliament is dysfunctional. It is because the judiciary is dysfunctional. The arms of government, not to say like that because like Madabio, the bulldozer, that makes Salon not become failed. No. It is because, you know, it goes back to waiting we don't talk from like, 19 Zot Ibrahim. When the African Express don't begin to pull in information in Rado, all man they carry which is talking about one parliamentarian, even when one mention of inside the well of parliament, they force some for making change say their opinion. Papa God. Imagine una when they give una oversight budget, then they pay una for go check. Udana Ariobo for go check. Udana the rich man, then they pay una for do am. You talk about
if I didn't go to the rich man, now Uda not get for facing the rich man. I didn't go to the rich man. He run, he say this rich man bad, he run. Uda the face the rich man. Then they talk say, hey, then they bulldoze. Remember how the catch rich, he run by the rich. What the people do now? You know, remember but when they say fake degree, they make committee quick. Not opinion. It's not opinion. Remember, not to say fake doctors, not opinion. You know that the biggest insult they ever do as alone. The biggest insult of let them take the corruption where they kill people them, we make doctors die because of August kindness, make people die because of light no day. Then go, they not talk about and they say an opinion, then they take degree, fake PhD. For make a committee that will begin a useless man in the talk say I get 500 degree, what benefits alone. Now Cambridge has study, now Oxford has study, what I know that day. 100 degree per chief. Yes, imagine that the biggest insult Salon ever gets where you see them to go take, hey, lawmaker, you can line committee for investigate fake doctorate degree. What thing that they get for this Salon? If I don't know to fix it like Salon, the professor, the business is Abbas Bunude, the you can line the back like Salon. Nade, when to fix it like Salon, brutally. Yeah, where they get real degree, na like Salon. They still don't make committee. Imagine just because they not everyone, they not say if they touch the corruption, that finally also they said expose because they are part of the corruption. They are part if you are not with us, you are against us. If you know that against me, meaning you do it we. If they MP are not part of the corruption, I still to go for all this corruption, all day. And as Kuma and ABC, the SLP them make so say they know they say they know the day. You know so they lie and Kuma, they lie and all kind lie. They couldn't see that they don't ever take action. They all keep quiet. These guys are corrupt and the government.
Not to them they get APC, not to them they get majority in the parliament, but yet still SLPP they make noise step on them.
But lie most Sunday na be lie. Yes. Something in the song lie na be pure lie, but they make noise. Then the SLPP anything African specialist, boom boy APC. They not matter you say the right, it support the African Express. But APC then say no not talk the opinion. All that is man.
Criminal.
You know, when you go back to the East, imagine, 250,000 people, then they tell we say they're not able to register them. Okay, disclose the number because this could well be a game where it be say, they kind of like wait now until see certain people like where they as they say they get system in place. We see people like where they kind of like remove that they register. So how do they go pull 250,000 people? Almost like I believe say I'm trying to not mention this earlier. Almost by almost people Madabi you win election last year.
Less than 2%.
90,000 or so.
Yeah, about so less than 2%.
Like right. Now, 250 million people. That could be the decider.
250,000 people, yeah.
When they shape we can't keep Ibrahim.
Absolutely.
You see, if Ibrahim, the danger when we get there, yeah. Salon people they joke with politics. They feel say politics like game of life. They don't say politics like game way for change your life. And they make your decision. You know, somebody the day way like me too, like we get a conversation over the weekend about it never like politics. Now a mortgage as a result in the UK, like because of politics, how interest rate don't go up, it affect now they begin to talk and I'll say, no, I don't begin interest by politics, so but now it affects even the pocket. You see, Ibrahim, like what you can say, if you don't do politics will surely do you. This mess where they go on now with country, Ibrahim. It is so avoidable. The poverty rate in Salon, it is avoidable. These are the basic things where they cause the poverty. People feel say, oh, now because Salon don't get money. Now because we don't see you see, we don't feel say money that's in way. Money, the money now based on what you get, based on your collateral, based on your security. This now, when they money they come out. Not a way they say physical cash, they can give you cash. No. You know, over to you, man.
I got you. I got you. We don't need 1 hour. People's power. You already know Rob Motzman this. You get anything we want coming? Because I want to channel back closer for we with if I don't know if you want to establish like a sort of a portal again, like I be do during the August 10 protest. The over almost 1,000 names them of victims they won't know for Fentity. Like I be say right for justice. I don't know if Cheroba, want for establish something like a dandy along that line where people them way affected. We got to go look for the name them, they not saying at the register for them call in and something like that. So try to think about that. But I bring in people's power if you want Rob Mott, small people's power, because the focus people's power. Let them politicians there tell we how it possible for let them sit down. We want for Yeri from them if they accept say 256,000 names, 250,000 people. We're less than Salon is about 7 million plus, right? But almost 250,000 people they named and they say they register twice, so that they pull and come out and they register. People say, let's talk to them with politicians there. See, that's we want you read them first on that front. We don't even challenge the number yet to then give it for the registration. No. Just on that basis alone, for say they want to delete 256,000 people, 250,000 people. Talk to me, people's power, and then we'll bring in Brother Cheno Bale closer for we.
Ibrahim, I just want for tell the politicians they see now the electorate them, now the importance na yasu, the people who will vote, when the electorate them, and then they make you go parliament, and then they make you be minister, you be president, or whatever position you want. This Ibrahim, how we see this thing now, we know the left hand to one green person. Even there were we have one big flag there for the APC party. There were one different position in the party. This is not the all responsibility now. Me, I tell you, see, this then 256,988 people we Mohamed Kone say it will delete now the voters registration. It still not delete them, it gets them. They just want to know the reaction of the political party them. They want to know the reactions of members of parliament. They want to know the reactions of people we want old position, we want to can lead this country. They want to know their reaction. Now I make them come say they don't delete and 256,988 people they don't delete them from the voters registration. This not a talk no more, but members of parliament them. Ibrahim, we know say members of parliament them, then get the immunities, then get the responsibility. But this one now, even the one that we want for be flag there, even the one that we want for be flag there, you go only be president if they include this figure inside this 256,988 people we the one for can omit, we the one for can pull. So we all get for come together, just like waiting cash box the action. No matter being win elections less than 2%. This is the time where people say they're not sick and tired with the APC. This is the time where people feel say the APC not be popular. Now it matter be win elections less than 1%. This is the time where people feel say APC candidates at that time will not be popular. Now it matter be win elections less than 1%. Then guys don't work this figure here. We see then they delete 256,988 people. You go imagine this na a whole region, na a whole district population, the voters population. Now they pull so This na a whole district, a whole region population. Now they put so commode. And the one they wait and talk say, na teenager, they look then they corner they say they go. You know, Ibrahim, the APC say then they go court. According to which we hear from stakeholders within the party. The APC say then they go court. Ibrahim, this particular one, if na for effect for donor country, if na for let the work come, if na law go back to square one, if na for let uprising take place, or if possible the military officer they come in, let them do am so. Ibrahim, no country no dey at the world. Me, I no ever see this since when me born. I no ever see this in my life. All the elections them where me don't follow, where I don't witness. Of course, 96 elections. Now read I can't read. Now follow I can't follow. 2002, 2004, 2007, 2008, 2012 elections, 2018 we just done. Where Madabio just win. We not ever in we life. We see they say 256,000 people, 988 people them pull them from the voters registration. Wait till me want for tell them people and they will get that receipt.
People's power. That just to tell you, that is like 7%. 7% of like the figure that we they say 3.2 million people that we they register. It's about 7%.
That is the amount of votes where NGC gets about 6% of that vote.
You know, so the people that will get that receipt, me, when I all receipt them. Then receipt them there, when I all then I make the tell when I say when I keep the receipt them there. Where you go verify, you name for day by the people because now when you qualify, when you don't register done. Now when they say you don't qualify for register done, you don't register to them. Now then they issue receipt to you. And when they do this registration, everybody don't print. All man put your hand, you put your finger in another machine, not so. All man put your finger in another machine. Once you put your finger in another machine, that machine they talk say yes, indeed, you don't register. Now one day you register. After Mohammed Kone, do you if na mistake. If na testilo, the testilo, do you big. Go reverse back that testilo. In the work, the political party, them, NDCO, Symposio, this all the political party are. We all for come together. And now we tell Mohammed Kone say enough of this nonsense. How you go tell people and say over 200,000 people then go register to them? You go imagine that he not ever tell we so when he do that first 80%. We announce the first 80%. He not tell we say this, he not tell we that. We don't day over 40 days before they can tell we now say look the amount of people where they talk say now underage. Now underage 74% of the people where they say now underage now the north and the western area. Now they pull them. We did not see a video. Of course, Chegno, you said don't see that video today. When we see they pull picking them at school na Kailaun. Then they pull picking them at their school and a bond. Then they bring the camp for camp register Ibrahim. This time around, if the political party them, they don't call for war. If the political party they don't call for uprising, believe you me, we will call for war, we will call for uprising.
No.
People swear. Yeah, we don't call for war. That is what we prevent. That the work could work so that I make the carry talk every day to ensure say we not reach to that point. You know, so people's power. But we not go call for war on this platform, you know, because at the end of the day we have to promote peace at all front. But anyways, you know, I just want to remind
equally Ibrahim as a platform. We need to say with the board there was no rule nothing out. To be very honest with you, I don't make I always say me single and I'm talking about platforms. Say me.
So, comrade, let's say. So comrade, what I want for do? Comrade, Larry mind neck real quick within the the Constitution make very clear now. The Constitution is very clear in Section 31 about the rights of citizens getting registered. It says every citizen of Sierra Leone being 18 years of age and above and of sound mind shall have the right to vote and accordingly shall be entitled to be registered as a voter for the purposes of public elections and referenda. So, but again, like I say, comrade, of course, not forget we'll get to guest with winner, Brother Chernoba of the African Express, where they come for highlight these issues, what they discuss and talk about. So we just get for keep we frame within that conversation. But Brother Cherubah, go ahead and close on for we when it comes to what you think, what you want for do.
I just emphasize the fact that the reason why we talk about democratic processes, that the fact that we believe say governments can be changed through peaceful methods. Governments can be changed through the electoral process. And that me individually believe. And that me could insist on for make government able to organize that electoral commission and all the institutions, the politicians of the country, for able to protect the constitution and protect the peace in the country. One way for do that, and for able to make people participate in the election in a peaceful way. I strongly believe, say, we don't come more from a position, so we not encounter these difficulties. This is why I still go back to 2012 and how we all campaign and call and struggle with the Electoral Commission, the government at the time under Nkrumah and all the one and they force to make we get a biometric system of registration, part of the process. Now, because after the war, then create all the institutions there. The Electoral Commission became a supposed independent institution. First time before the war, electoral affairs were actually organized under the Internal Affairs Ministry. So there was a reason why all these democratic institutions were established as independent institutions that for strengthen the democracy and prevent war, prevent crisis. So make we allow institutions and for function properly so that this, now when you choke people and they're not even able to think, say the democratic process they work, now you give the kind of ideas with people's power they talk about. But I strongly go encourage every Sierra Leonean for tell the members of parliament for able to protect their right, their constitutional right, make we able for vote in and vote out the government in a peaceful way. I will advocate for that, and that are the call for. Yes, you asked about what are the monitoring mechanism where we get the same process where we introduce collectively for talk to people about what in the go on now we continue so in a peaceful way. Secondly, again, we don't put out the same number that is out there and the same website where they allow you for report difficulties with the electoral process is still available, still open. When I get the number, I get a poster again on my Facebook page and circulate on the WhatsApp, make people learn. Anybody will go verify a name as people's power say nobody will get a registration slip if the person not properly register. Now when they register you properly, then they will give you a slip. All the one that will go register, will not be able to register, they may give them also a rejection letter or notice or receipt. So you will be not get a receipt, we don't confirm your registration. You're not supposed to be removed from the registration. So you can go to the registration center with your slip. And if you go there, if you go verify, the not agree for verify, then say you're never supposed to the day. Report that to we. Report that to we. We will also able to document and send them to the people that we go intervene. We'll still call on we members of parliament, call on the members of parliament, call on the politicians on the ground, and tell them we want for you to read their voice and their opinion on what did happen that the country. What is their view on the current report from ECSL that over 250,000, which we call more than 250,000 voters, risk being removed from the voters register because they are believed to have registered twice or them register when they're not supposed to register, that they're underage. And as far as we know, ECSL will tell we say the machines and the system where they get, they prevent double registration or multiple registration. Exactly. They prevent underage people for register. We know say people in Freetown, Putloko, Cambia, McKinney, Mashimbi, right up to northwest, they're not able to register. So majority of first-time voters are not able to register because they say the machines are not programmed for register people the way go turn out. That is a talker. We see even COP organize press conference and bring people that when they say that first-time voters we testify to able to register even if they get birth certificate. So who side this double registration come on? Who side this underage registration come on? Over 200,000, 250,000 people. So we want to see the names, we want to see the breakdowns of these names, where they registered, who registered them. This is an electoral offense. You cannot delete an electoral offense, electoral offenders just like that. They have to be held responsible. those who registered them have to be held responsible, and that the law says. So I will still call on people for still keep the peace, and then we'll get these processes, report, make we struggle, make we democracy work. It will work if we continue. I believe say we don't help the people and for understand, people don't respond, and they listen to we, then they take action based on what we say. So let us encourage them to impress upon the politicians, the institutions, friends of Sierra Leone, for making them impress upon the politicians and the people that were in charge of democratic institutions for act right. Absolutely. We can still make them happen. If you be left to them politicians, they're not for even make 1 million people register. Now we pressure, we effort, we sensitization, we education, public contributions, we would do so. The message they would send to people, like the response of the people, like the determination of the people, like they allow for make we even they talk about 3 million voters. This was not the plan. We have to underline this was Absolutely. Not the plan. So no matter how we consider what we do, is producing the result that we want. We just got to be determined and dedicated for do this and encourage the people that we're not tired. We're not tired. The only way we then want for people out of make them frustrated now from participating in the election. We have to determine not to be frustrated. The same determination have been used for come and register, hold on a bench there on an umbrella there, tower under rain for register, for me to register when I go 210, 310, when I try it, when I enter on a name there, when I tower back to make sure say when I name the dinner register. You can do this peacefully. It's going to happen. We could definitely able for vote Mother Bio out. If we are able to force our MPs them for do the right thing, call on them, message them, ask them the questions. Don't sit back. No discourage. And that's one for say. Let us push for peaceful ways of making our democracy work. It can work.
Absolutely.
Maybe we not encourage bloodshed. The loss of a single life of a Sierra Leonean is not worth anything other than minus to a country.
Absolutely.
We will fight for anything that will make sure our democracy work, the rights of the people are protected, the rights of the constitution, the sanctity of our democracy is protected without bloodshed. Absolutely. Let us fight to promote that. Absolutely. And encourage that.
Chairman, quickly before you go, as you see, the lives we don't die safe in these 5 years, in these 4 years plus, we need to go on battle.
It's too much.
It's too much. So my say here, the people of Sierra Leone are determined. Let me tell you something, Chairman. Any say we uprising grab or we problem,
comrade,
all option no fail.
Right.
If all option fail,
comrade.
Let me just land.
No switch this conversation. Let me
just land on this point. We say all option fail. We don't see a report where the UN and EU don't pull a time report. We point out the 2030.
Comrade, I totally, comrade, I see where you're going. That's a conversation.
No, let me just land, Ibrahim. Please, let me land. Please, let me land. What make us let me land? I'm a victim of the circumstance. Let me just land, Ibrahim, because we have seen something here.
I feel your pain.
We don't sit down for 5 years. We don't crystal.
Comrade, I got you.
We don't sit down for another 5 years again. Let me just land on this point.
I feel you.
The TRC report points out the judiciary and the police. We see a report where the EU and UN point out the same institution. Now they add the PPRC, they add NEC. But we say all man pull up at the House of Parliament. The House of Parliament, when they forbid the Supreme Legislative, but we for control everything. I not deliberately they refuse everything. When I get for leaders to any problem they go. Because nobody they see the House of Parliament as a problem like Osina, the say the rich man powerful person. Who don't get for cage rich man? Because enjoy the focus on NCA and say the police and the judiciary, but the House of Parliament, when are they for make sure say Salon no goes any longer again, they're comfortable. And seeing these things, the people are determined, just like kind of determined for go register, they will see all kinds of things and frustrate them. Now the same thing they come back and this thing. Some of us will talk now with an option. Because we don't put to life for safe alone, and that's the option they say. If all options fail, the people don't say no option only. We politic option by ourselves, and the option you could be a team we could do a record. Now my invoicing a record. Me with no regrets because some of we don't live life behind this fight here.
Got you, comrade. You know, I can always tell you say something. They say hold big tick, you sit down quietly, not to all thing talk. But it's okay. I think I feel your pain. I feel una frustration. I feel people's pain and frustration as well. But something in there. They say, "Let it go easy no more." They say plan properly, and plan quietly, so let your work speak for you. I don't believe in too much.
Besides Ibrahim, I just want to ask, not to ask, a comment. APC been sending representative then and NEC
wait for tally the registration, wait for kind of like assess the registration, and then they kind of like suppose for man their affairs. Basically checkmate the why outside APC been there when they collect all this information. They do not know the 250,000 people where Alfred Peter Conte, this dodgy guy, choosing your people to go represent people inside them. Where are they?
Exactly.
Now at the hearing, Ahmed they say that they go cross check, then they go sue and all. But you were supposed to be part of the process where they collect this information.
Good point, Kashi.
No, if I can say one word before I go, yes, a good point on the cash box but the interesting thing is that voting like they announced, and then the very APC people start to talk about this. Now they even provide the leeway. In fact, the audio when they circulates from Ahmed say they talk say then no go ECSL don't put injunction against them. They're not for talk, they're not for circulate any word until after the 4 days, basically after the period of the verification. So now they even begin to talk about even the 2 days extension. It first came from the APC. People will talk about election, and then first begin to just say that 2 days ECSL get for extend before ever ECSL. This is as if then they direct ECSL what for do. In our own days, now we tell ECSL that this we want. When they say they go do biometric registration, the duplication aspect, now Belgium, we say it not going to happen BNW. We must be present.
Absolutely.
And it happened exactly according to our political parties and the larger civil society being demand at the time. We had civil society representatives, political party representatives included. 21 members of the delegation went there, including PPRC. Abraham John was at the time registrar of the PPRC. Right now, in the I think Minister of Finance or the Chief Minister's office. They know these things.
Absolutely.
So they just make this thing crooked way because they don't want transparent election. They have the power, the responsibility for transparent election. But as I say for come back, let us exercise our democratic rights to the limits of what in the Constitution provide. This government can be voted out democratically. That is what I believe. It could happen.
Absolutely. That we exercise patience and restraint. That's the key. But anyway,
very annoying.
It is because
let us encourage people to exercise the limits of the constitutional powers we then get.
Comrade, say you hold enormous powers, so you get for manage your thought process there. Say people listen to you a lot. Millions of citizens.
Yeah, but sometimes they say tell the person what you need to know. We are telling them, Ibrahim.
Right.
I will tell a reason. We need to tell them what they need to know. Because I'm seeing like all options is failing us. This House of Parliament will overlook. So I know this from 1964.
Absolutely.
The 1965 Criminal Libel Law Act 9 count one as alone.
Absolutely.
We see now the thing we don't count. I didn't Japan's Criminal Libel Law accept. They don't cause all kinds of things.
Yeah.
These people when the field rich man, they get for rich man get for with them.
Yeah.
Rich man get for with them one day.
I got you.
We know this they come with you play like 5 years consistently. No one can go salute right now.
Absolutely.
People they die. Not to gone battle. How much people don't die? We sit back out of 5. If you ask for like got tank, you 1 million them. They can't go for that. It will go give 5 years for talk. Let's not got option. There are a lot of options for civil democracy. There are a lot of options for civil democracy. Now the first one the thing so the democratic means.
Absolutely.
All man knows the whole all knows you and not talk say the people of Sierra don't trust the judiciary, the police, and the PPRC and NEC. The whole lot of is a report. Is there. If this means I say the film, we will not let film. No, Ibrahim, I don't fit to. I'm not in a war. There's no sweet one. There's no bitter piece.
Yes. I got you.
So if you know the first for you will not go that side. When them members of parliament dip and join this government for a bit problem as a law for them that you kill more people in 5 years. You don't need for to for people. What you do so for look at my members are the language at prison. In secret, the post cancer the so the will get bill. How many people don't die at jail? Look at at August. Looks about the something. So we need to afford for them lose more salary in the cold blood.
Absolutely.
We see nobody see nothing. Nothing nobody to see. Then the non go confident to serving like dog in the street. Ibrahim, we choose all options for civil democracy. The first option is democratic means. Low go to first. When you feel we'll get another option.
We
have to tell them this.
Actually, comrade, we are succeeding. No worry, we are succeeding. We go, the democratic rule go take him in cause, you know. But anyways,
remind people about verification and report.
Yeah, Chenoba, good. You want to talk on Andy real quick? People, you want to reach out to you again? You want to give a phone number like how you do Rights for Justice? People will feel safe.
I will post the phone number so we don't confuse people. I will post the phone number on my Facebook page and WhatsApp again, and we'll circulate it. We all but the same would say when you go turn out for verify that you encounter difficulty, maybe continue for report this and highlight and call on transparency. One thing I want for emphasize the fact that the whole world, the attention is now focused on Sierra Leone.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be increasingly so as we lead to the election. We are not alone in trying to protect the democracy. Maybe we still get faith in them.
Absolutely. Okay, so when I look out for the posting from Brother Channel African Express, we see if we go share with you. We'll get the phone number. We'll get for use for let when come and report the people away. The name they know that they register. We go look for that they registered and go the name they know they. We go provide the phone number for yeah. So we'll keep a tally like I'll keep tally of the people them again. August 10th, over almost 1,000 people them we disappear. We don't lost. We didn't not forget any word from them. We want for keep their names then there as well. So when I look out for the numbers them. Then nobody no call communicator. They talk communicator. Anybody will call you to talk about anything else other than what to talk about. Whether the most important part of this conversation today for say let members of parliament them and the leaders of the opposition them come out and speak against this 256 250,000 people who want for disenfranchise their rights to vote. Do you not encourage any other conversation and I need to talk to you about because so take it say conversations where you go one way people tend for listen more of that and forget about the main cause of what to talk about. So just be mindful of that. We didn't count and talk.
I'm not even call me. 5 minutes audio, what you will tell me. Circulator and see 70 the border. You now this also 30 minutes 1 hour for do you. ESF 2 minutes audio. Make and say let call the one for call out, not to me for calling. Because we time for the safe call there.
Absolutely.
Let all my voice be heard this time. If I'm not one person, let us help people participate here. Because then they listen. Oh boy, you know we talk like how they talk. That means you go blue man to me, blue man, and all my they say you said don't talk. Your voice don't be heard. For safe salon democracy.
Absolutely. Low left the hypocrisy.
Remember. They get for go left one back to the mono to Sonoma in the talk.
You know, the hypocrisy, they don't kill Salon like it today. A lot of people too hypocrite. If you go to the diaspora and they will say, hey, me, I get security clearance. Me, not talk about any mix about politics. That's a lie, but get out. But anyways, we left and I don't know convolute the message. On a look out for the number we Chenoba in African Express get for send out for on a report. Anybody we go look at the register, your name not the you get for send your name to that number so to keep a tally of this 250,000 people where they want for disenfranchised with democracy. Section 5, subsection 2 of the Constitution makes it very clear that sovereignty belongs to the people. The government derives its legitimacy, its authority, and its power from the people. Democracy is the power of the people, for the people, and by the people. Bye-bye, everybody.